we'll dwell into the PYQ sections. So we'll try to take a PYQ which has been asked from this topic which we have discussed before, and we'll try to answer those question, as well as I'll try to give you the framework for that answer. The question is, define anthropology and describe the major branches of anthropology, elaborating on any one branch. This part we need not think about it for now, because this one we can see when we are handling the scope of anthropology, which is the next lecture series. For now, we'll restrict ourselves to this part. So the framework for the question, define anthropology, is given here. If you see the previous year question, it has been asked as a 5 marker and as a subpart. But here we are not going to discuss this as a subpart, but like an entire question. So the first one is study area. You can say that it studies both cultural and biological diversity of man, human beings. Next, we can also state it also studies man from both temporal and spatial perspective. So the next subheading is the subfields of anthropology. Anthropology as a subject is much wider in scope, as we have seen throughout this lecture, but it has been broadly classified into 4 subfields, namely biological anthropology, cultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and archaeological anthropology. So these are the major subfields, but please note there are many other smaller subfields emerging, and since we have seen throughout this lecture that anthropologist tries to study about man in totality, there are various subfields emerging day by day. So, but still we'll restrict ourselves to this 4 major subfields for now. The next subheading is key characteristics of anthropology. Some of the key characteristics are, it is a science. Not only a science, it is an interpretive science. This one we have seen from Gates' definition. Hope you remember. Next, it is interdisciplinary in nature. Third, it bridges the gap between the humanities and the sciences. Fourth, it is oriented towards the discovery of meanings rather than towards the discovery of laws. So the next subheading is the approaches and methods used. So some of the approaches used are We have discussed about this approach, comparative approach. Next, thick description. Next, holistic. Next, we also went through this one, that is biocultural approach. Next, some of the methods used are we have seen, that is ethnography. We will see what is the definition of it in the upcoming slide. Next, participant observation. Questionnaires. Then archaeological excavations. Etc. So I would like to clarify what is ethnography. So it is a qualitative research method. It is about recording and analyzing a culture or society based on participant observation and resulting in a written account of people, place and institutions. I hope this definition is very simple. You will be able to understand this much better. The next subheading is the purpose and objective. So purpose we have seen. One is to apply the knowledge for social good. This is taken care by applied anthropology, which is a subdiscipline. Next, major purpose is to contribute to academic understanding of human societies. Next, preservation and conservation of human cultures. We could say, rather say human cultural diversity. Also, it has a more ethical dimension and purpose as quoted by Ruth Benedict, that is to make the world safe for human differences. Also, there are many more purpose and objectives. If you would have seen the objectives part, you can include any of them, but I think 2 to 3 points are enough for this. So, what are the core values of anthropology? So, one is cultural relativism. Next one, the research should be conducted in a more ethical way, that is ethical research. How, in the sense, while conducting ethical research, they need to take consent from the persons who are involved in it, and they should also care about the protection of vulnerable populations. Third, research has to be objective based or objectivity. That is, while collecting data or while the anthropologist is working as a participant observation, he has to maintain a neutral and unbiased stand. Neutral or unbiased stand when collecting and interpreting data, avoiding cultural or personal biases. That is, whatever personal biases he has to keep that away, and he has to sense or look at any cultural perspective and in an unbiased way. So that's what it means. So conclusion. So before discussing the conclusion, I would like to share some viewpoints on intro. Intro, you can either start by quoting some anthropologist definitions, or you can start with a very simple definition like what anthropology means, that is anthropos and logos. We have discussed about the body part, and the conclusion part. See, this is your choice, but I'm just giving an example how I would be concluding. I'll be concluding by stating that anthropology is evolving day by day, and there are new emerging trends in anthropology due to changes in culture and communication techniques plus technology. I would also quote the example of it, that is digital anthropology or visual anthropology. And I would conclude by stating that this field is ever changing and ever dynamic with respect to the changes in human culture.